And it's going to ask you to say yes to the live stream. And I'm going to say hello, everybody. Good evening. It's a beautiful day here in Chicago. My name is Jody Giannakopoulos. I'm actually in Addison, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, and I am happy to present this evening Sparky and Rhonda. I was lucky enough to find them on the internet through a little folk festival, storytelling festival that we have outside of Chicago here. And I am so lucky to have you guys with us tonight. When I posted this on a personal note, right away somebody was like, "I love Sparky and Rhonda," and I was like, "Here we go,
That's
perfect."
Good.
So I am so pleased. I would love for you guys to tell the audience, if you would, a little bit about yourselves, and then just go ahead and roll right into your program. Before that, just really quickly, I wanted to mention that we have on Thursday night Jacqueline Kennedy performance. It's a reenactor performance by a woman named Leslie Goddard, who is kind of famous in these parts, and she's going to do a first-person portrayal of Jacqueline Kennedy this Thursday, September 30th at 7 p.m., and you can register at addisonlibrary.org. And without further ado, I welcome Sparky and Rhonda.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's good to be home. A couple of days ago, we were over in North Carolina playing a festival. That was our second outdoor festival since the tragedy hit us. And the one thing I miss about still feeling reticent to go traveling is, of course, the tragic pandemic we're in right now. But one thing I miss is seeing my friends in person. That's why I got into this business, is to get to visit with my friends, Something to pay for the gas and pay for a sandwich, and never knowing it would end up being a career. And even with warts and all, I love this nation. This nation was founded on freedom, and it was such an exciting idea that the French gave us a gift. A huge statue we could put in New York Harbor. Statue of Liberty. And an inspired poet named
Emma Lazarus.
What?
Emma Lazarus.
Yeah. Emma Lazarus put the succinct words that we needed. Said, "Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free." And that's why we feel everybody's got a right to sit at the welcome table. Well, I'm gonna walk the streets of glory. Well, I'm gonna walk the streets of glory. Some of these days, hallelujah, I'm gonna walk the streets of glory. Gonna walk the streets of glory some of these days. The course is easy. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. Well, I'm gonna sit at the welcome table some of these days. Hallelujah. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table some of these days. Come on, Rhonda. never get tired. Well, I'm gonna sing and never get, oh, one of these days, hallelujah. I'm gonna sing, never get tired. Gonna sing and never get tired some of these days. Welcome table. Sing, come on now. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. Well, I'm gonna sit at the welcome table some of these days. Hallelujah. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table some of these days. Gonna sit at the welcome table.
Well, we're down in Maryville, Tennessee, which is near Knoxville in East Tennessee, near the Smoky Mountains, actually, the Southern Appalachian chain. And we did guess it's been quite a few years now. We did one of our recordings was based on this area that we live in and that we love so much. Sparky's from Knoxville and grew up steeped in the music that came.
Steeped, it sounds like a tea bag.
That's right. Well, you're drinking tea. But in the culture, the Southern Appalachian culture, and it's just a real unique culture in this area. I mean, we've got the Native Americans who were here first. Let's not forget that. And then we've got the African Americans who were brought over as slaves. And so they had that culture mixing in, and then you had the Scot-Irish who came over from the British Isles, and those cultures blended together in such a way that sometimes it's hard to tease apart and know what elements came from which place. And but they blended in a beautiful way and created the Southern Appalachian culture that we have here, and the music is such a highlight for me of the culture here. Some of this, we put a lot of the songs on that album called The Mountains Above and the Valleys Below that, you know, we thought had different origins. And the one that I'm going to lead here, hopefully people will sing along, is one that is sung in white churches in our area. But when I did a little bit more research into it, I found out that, well, there was a folklorist that found this song being sung in a black church in Trinidad, traced it back and found that there were slaves during the War of 1812 who were asked to fight on the side of the British and promised freedom if they did that. And of course that was the losing side. And the British, to keep their promise, sent them to Trinidad. And if you hear the song, you can hear the African-American origins of the song. I mean, after I knew the history, it was easy to tell. It's got those blue notes and all that kind of thing. But it is one that has been blended together and is just such a beautiful song. So anyway, I'm going to lead that, and hopefully some people, if you can catch on to it, sing along with us. Mothers, are you ready? Ready, oh, ready. Mothers, are you ready? Then we'll be going home. We'll camp a little while in the wilderness. In the wilderness, in the wilderness. We'll camp a little while while in the wilderness. Then we'll be going home. Then we'll be going home. Then we'll be going home. We're all making ready. Oh, ready. Then we'll be going home. Fathers, are you ready? Ready, oh, ready. Fathers, are you ready? Then we'll be going home. We'll camp a little while in the wilderness. In the wilderness. In the wilderness. We'll camp a little while in the wilderness. Then we'll be going home. Then we'll be going home. Then we'll be going home. We're all making ready. Oh, ready. Then we'll be going home. Try it with us. Children, are you ready? Ready, oh, ready. Children, are you ready? Then we'll be going home. We'll camp a little while in the wilderness. In the wilderness. In the wilderness. We'll camp a little while.
When you hear the guinea pigs, like one after another, like you hear them looking through their shoes, like.
Then we'll be going home. Then we'll be going home. Then we'll be going home. We're all making ready. Oh, ready. Then we'll be going home.
Thank you, thank you. Wish we could be in a room together, but just in case you got COVID, I got to. That's where I keep vampires away. You know, it's coming up on October. Oh man, I can't wait to see all this youngins running around and coming to the door saying, give me a, I can't think of his name, any candy. It's been so long since I've had any. Give me a Snickers, you know, and then they go, oh yeah. Where we at here?
Just to keep you guys up to speed on people just chiming in, it's telling us that's one of their favorites. Barb said, Nancy said, beautiful, thank you. And somebody else is singing along saying camp a while in the wilderness.
Oh, that's great.
Other people telling about their whereabouts they're living and having family in the Knoxville area and been to Maryville. It's a great chat. It's really
well,
cool.
leave that chat room up enough for me to be able to see it afterwards, you know.
We'll copy it after.
I will.
And read through it.
This is all her fault. Because I was playing banjo before I met her, but she's a much better banjo player than I am. But she's the one that thought, well, let's just play two at the same time. And I thought that, you know, I checked the law books and it says this will give you 10 to 15, you know, just.
It was against the law in Georgia.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that's when you're supposed to grab your hat and run, you know. But anyway, I just want to preface this song by saying This got the biggest amount of applause and singing when we did this at the Citadel in South Carolina.
Now you got to explain that.
I got to explain how come. You know, the Civil War was going so long that when Lincoln in frustration got hold of a man that came out of Ohio, a man that was a fighting general named Grant, who said, let's get this over. Let's quit messing around here now. Let's, we've lost too many people in this war. Let's get this over with. And he got him some vicious people to go with him, like little Phil Sheridan, bandy-legged Irishman, that he put in charge of his cavalry. And he told him, he said, I want you to get down there and burn all that supplies down there. And Phil Sheridan told his men, said, I want a crow flying over this part of the country to have to bring its own provender. That's how much I want you to take off. Mm. And then he got another man who most people are misinformed, I should say, about him. He came out of Ohio as well. Taciturn, red-headed man that was named for a Shawnee war chieftain. A man named William Tecumseh Sherman. And contrary to popular belief, Sherman loved the South. Just before the war broke out, he had been in charge of a military academy down in Louisiana. He was pro-slavery. But he had made a promise. He had made a vow to protect the Union. And back in those days when a person gave a vow, it meant something. Not like today, people swear on a stack of Gideons and go out and lie right afterwards. But to make a vow that you will protect the Union. That's what Cousin Bobby did. He had vowed to protect the Union, but he had, prior to that, vowed to protect Virginia. And that's why he, as a man who was anti-slavery, chose to fight for the Confederacy. Those were interesting times, people. Interesting times. So Sherman said, well, the only way we're going to make this thing speed up here, we got to stop messing around here too, Let's get this war over with. I'm going to make Georgia howl. I'm going to turn my army loose and let them march all the way 300 miles from Atlanta down to Savannah. People used to ask Lincoln, where's Sherman at? He said, I don't know. I know which hole he went into, but I got no idea what hole he's coming out of. And just before Christmas, a telegram arrived. Merry Christmas, Mr. President. I present to you Savannah, Georgia. A few short months, that terrible war was over. There was a son of an abolitionist named Henry Clay Work. Some of you may know of him because of that song, My Grandfather's Clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. That was his hit. That was his Inagata DeVita, the one he wrote that everybody knew. But right after the war, he wrote him a song. Went like this. Bring good old bugle boys, we'll sing another song. Sing it with a spirit that will start the world along. Sing it like we used to sing it 50,000 strong. While we were marching to Georgia, hoorah! Union men who wept with joy for So we'll sing the chorus from Atlanta to the sea while we were marching through
I hadn't heard you hit that note in a while.
I was having a good time.
You hit a high note
I
there,
hit a
Sparky.
high note. Well, you know.
One of those junior high notes that you used
now,
to hit.
now let's don't get carried away. Yeah, I've changed my favorite song several times. Changed the keys.
Change the keys, right? Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that.
Well, you know, did you mess up?
I messed up.
After the Civil War, let me back up and pun here for a minute. You know, everything that a government does has got to do with a money interest. And after the war, a lot of people put money into building the Transcontinental Railroad. And when the railroad went, it was right after the war, they started trying to continue the work. And the railroad bought up all the right-of-way land. Oh, what's going on here? What happened? I think I lost my bottleneck open.
All right. Again. I'll find it. You go ahead.
Yeah, anyway, a lot of the land that was bought up by the railroad, they ended up invoking a law that gave them all of the right of way, both north and south of the railroad. And so a lot of people's farms were confiscated and eminent domain. And a lot of people coming back from that war, living in Missouri, came back and found their farmsteads burned. A lot of them turned to outlawry. You know, every war we have, our young men and women come home damaged, angry, restless, some homeless. And some of these good old boys over there in western Missouri who had roots in Kentucky, Rhonda's home state, began to make war on the railroad that took their farm and got themselves a merry old time. Some people said they were the Robin Hood of the West. Jesse James, we understand, has killed many a man. He robbed that Union train. He robbed from the rich and he gave to the poor. And for money, Jesse never suffered pain. You know that Jesse had a wife for his life. 3 children, they were brave, but that dirty little coward shot Mr. Howard, laid Jesse James in his grave. And with his brother Frank, he robbed that Gallatin bank, shot cashier sheets to the ground, and the people million miles away. Said it was those outlaws, Frank and Jesse James. You know that Jesse had a wife, born for his life. 3 children, they were brave. But that dirty little coward shot Mr. Howard. Hey, Jesse James, it is free. It was on one Saturday night, the moon was shining bright. They robbed that Glendale train, and one of the younger boys, Lord, gathered in the sport, carried that money away. You know that Jesse had a wife, mourned for his life. Children, they were brave, but that dirty little coward that shot Mr. Howard, hey, Jesse James, it is free. Well, for a time they hid out in Tennessee, over there in Nashville. Known as the Howard brothers, dealers in horses. But you can't make a leopard change his spots. They robbed a couple of banks in Kentucky. Had to head back to Missouri. After that disastrous Northfield raid, he hired a couple of local boys that was trying to teach him, Robert and Charlie Ford. It was on one Monday morn, Jesse was at home, talking to his family brave. Robert Ford, he came along like a thief in the night. Lady Jesse James in his grave. You know that Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. Children, they were brave, but that dirty little coward that shot Mr. Howard, hey, Jesse James, it is free. Can't stop now. You know Jesse had a wife. She lived a lady all her life. 3 children, they were brave. But history does record that Bob and Charlie Ford, wait for Jesse, wait for Jesse, as big Jesse James in his grave. Fingers got tangled up in the waters.
Well,
Let's
thank
see
you.
Where we at here? Maybe break the law again and play some more banjo. Is that what?
Yeah, because one duo banjo song isn't enough. This
We're
song.
about to do our whole repertoire. No, actually, I guess we got about 4 or 5 of those now.
Yeah, we got a few.
Yeah. We don't know no better.
This song, the verses were written by an English Baptist minister named Samuel Stinnett, but the chorus is an old Underground Railroad song. And the reason we know that is the code words. Now, you know about the code words in the Underground Railroad, right? I mean, they couldn't just sing a song saying, we're going to escape tomorrow. The slave owners weren't quite that dumb, so they had to, figure out another way to say it. So they might say, we're going to Canaan land, meaning Canada, because they didn't have the fugitive slave law up there. If you made it to Canada, you were free. Or you might say, I'm going to the promised land. And my dad was listening to this song once and said something that made me look into the history of the place where he grew up. He grew up in Dixon County, Tennessee. It's Middle Tennessee. And there's the slaves that were there were set free, of course, with the end of the Civil War. And they formed a settlement, living among themselves, and had, a school, a couple of churches, a store, and they were really proud of their new little village because they were free. They were living free for the first time. Some of them were farming and just, making money for the work they did, which they had never had before. So they were really proud of their new home. And when it came time to name their new settlement there, their new town, they called it Promised Land, Tennessee. This song is probably one you've heard, and hope you'll sing along with us. Make sure we're in tune here.
Optimistic.
Yeah. On Jordan's stormy banks I stand and cast a wishful eye to Canaan's fair and happy land where my possessions lie. I am bound for the promised land. I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, will come and go with me. I am bound for the promised land. They're generous fruits that cannot fail on trees immortal grow. There are rocks and hills and brooks and vales with milk and honey flow. I am bound for the promised land. I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, will come and go with me. I am bound for the promised No chilling wind nor poisonous breath can reach that awful shore. And sickness, sorrow, pain, and death are felt, and fear no more. I am bound for the promised land. I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, will come and go with me. I am bound for the promised land. One more.
Come on, sing it.
I am bound for the promised land. I'm bound for the promised land. Oh, will come and go with me. I am bound for the promised land.
I see
Thank you.
Barb's playing with us.
Oh, I know. It's so wonderful to see somebody playing a guitar in the audience. And And singing,
Don't
people
want to see any
singing.
bagpipes out there. Though.
No bagpipes.
No bagpipes.
Oh no.
Between the two of us, we got more Celtic than the people that live over there.
Maybe so. Well, I'll move to the piano, I guess.
All right. Take my glasses off so I can see the strings. I don't know. There's something ain't right about that. Well, I'll tell you, this COVID-19 has really killed off a lot of my mentors. Rhonda called it my old man fix, you know. She said, "I see you got your old man fix." When I get to sit and talk to an old man and an old woman and try to get some knowledge, something that, you know, I used to do that with your two aunts, Barb. Yeah. You know, I figure old folk didn't get old being stupid. You know, they got some inside track. You know, you got to pay attention to them. They know what's going on. But then one day I looked in the mirror and I was one of them old people. And now I finally figured out they was just like skating. Just pretending to know what was going on. One expression I always liked was when you ask some of them old folk, say, you know, a difficult question, they say, "Well, I'm a studying on it." And I remember as a kid, and I didn't know why we were saying it, but you know, somebody say something mean to you and you look at me, "I ain't studying you." Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside to study war no more. Well, I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Listen here. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. No more. Woo! I think I'm having too much fun. It's probably against the law, having much fun. Oh, goodness gracious.
This next one is a song that comes out of Kentucky, which is my home state, in Harlan County, Kentucky, to be exact.
Harlan? Why you having trouble? Because it's a banjo. Why am I having trouble?
Yeah, banjo, you change one string and they all go out.
I think I hit this guitar too hard when I said I was going to study war no more.
Back in 1931 in Harlan County, Kentucky, which is eastern Kentucky, there was a war going on. In fact, they called it Bloody Harlan, or the Harlan County Wars. And it was pretty awful. It was between the coal mining companies and the coal miners. And there was a woman that lived in Harlan County named Florence Reese. And her husband, Sam Reese, was a coal miner, a union leader. And then there was a sheriff in town named J.H. Blair. And back in those days, the coal mining companies would buy up the local law enforcement officials, bribe them. Some things never change, right? And so anyway, J.H. Blair came to the Reese household one evening looking for Sam. They were going to gun him down. And knocked on the door, and Florence answered, and she said he's not home, which he wasn't. But they barged in anyway, ransacked the house, and when they didn't find Sam, they set up watch outside. Needless to say, things got tense that night. Florence was left inside that house with her 7 children and those gun thugs right outside her door. Fortunately, Sam got wind of what was going on, and he made himself scarce that night. But Florence didn't know that. And she paced the floor, thinking about what they had been through. They had been forced to take a 10% pay cut, even though they were already living in poverty. I owe my soul to the company store. She didn't know if her husband, when he left in the morning, she didn't know if he's going to come back alive that night, because mining was that dangerous. She thought about all of that. All that was going around in her head, and some words came to her. She tore off a page of a wall calendar and wrote them down, and thought they were pretty good, and she put them to the tune of a song that a lot of people knew in those days. And it became one of the most famous labor songs ever to be written. Became an anthem for the labor movement. Not only that, though, 30 years later, they dug it out again and sang it during the Civil Rights Movement. And we're still singing it with movements today. In fact, there's an old saying, and comes out of the IWW in the early labor days there. They say, beware the movement that sings. Beware the movement that sings. Music is that powerful. We're going to do her version of the song. Hopefully, I'm almost in tune. Well, this has one of those people in it that you were talking about where you get an old man fix, right?
He said he wasn't that old.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Learned this one from William Howard Taft Armstrong, better known as Louis Bluey Howard Armstrong. And since I'm a vegetarian, been one since 1965, this ought to be my theme song. You know they put outside, be that 9 and all the admission was free. There were peas and greens, cabbage and beans, Lord, the biggest crowd you ever did see. Little old man Cucumber struck up his number. You should have heard the vegetable scream. Ow! Little turn top did the backwards flop. Shook the shimmy and he could not stop. Little red beet shook his feet, and the watermelon died with the cockeyed heat. Little tomato agitator shook the shimmy with the sweet potato. Old man got a drop dead in the cobbage. Down at the barnyard dance this morning. Down at the barnyard dance. Shook the shimmy and he could not stop. Little red beet shook his feet, and the watermelon died with the cockeyed heaps. Little tomato agitator shook the shimmy with the sweet potato. And old man got drunk dead at the cottage. Down at the barnyard dance this morning. Barnyard dances is down at the barn this afternoon. Down at the barnyard dance. Barnyard dance. Carl Martin and Howard Armstrong did that one. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time. What do you think?
We do one more, maybe. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll stay back there.
Thank you so much for being here, and you can go to our website, which is sparkyandrhonda.com, and we have our CDs and books since we can't do this in person. Anyway, they're up there for sale, And in fact, this one right here back next to me is a picture book called Make a Change that's about Sparky's first civil rights demonstration that his mother took him to.
That's why you can't do nothing with me. No, that's what.
He's been an activist since he was a kid.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of worn out. I'm ready for somebody else to take it over and let me sit in the back and rake in the laurels, whatever that means. Wait a minute, rake, that's work. No.
We've got CDs on sale there for sale, and then also Welcome to Birmingham, which you've got up there, Sparky.
Somewhere.
Yeah, is it not there? Yeah. Which is a historical novel that talks about what happened in Birmingham, Alabama in 1963. And that was before the famous bombing that everybody's heard about. There were lots more before that happened.
We'll take you out with a Blind Willie McTell song. Won't you wake up, mama? Turn your lamp down low. Oh, want you to wake up, mama? Won't you turn your lamp down low? Have you got the nerve to drive a good man from your door? Well, my mama died, left me. Papa died, left me wild. Mama died, left me reckless. Papa died, left me wild. Well, I ain't good looking, but I'm Rhonda Rucker, sweet angel child. Woo! She was better than I've ever seen. She treated me just like I was a king. She was a doggone queen. Oh, Big 89 Savannah could not stop. You ought to seen the fireman when the boiler got hot. Won't you reach over in the corner, children? Hand me my traveling shoes. Oh, you know, you can tell by that I got the stage sparrow blues. Oh, walk it. Sister had a baby brother did too. Oh, baby sister had a bad case of the state sparrow blues. Look over in the corner, Grandpa, Grandma had her too. You can sing this. Wake up, mama, turn your lamp down low. Oh, won't you to wake up, mama? Won't you turn your lamp down low? Have you got the nerve to drive a good man from your door? I said, have you got the nerve to drive a good man from your door? I don't think you heard me. I said, have you got the nerve to drive a good man from your door? God bless you. We're Sparky and Rhonda Rucker.
Yeah.
We love you. Thank you for coming.
We can hang around for some questions or anything if you want to.
Or is it too long?
Yeah, maybe too long. I don't know.
Can hang around. You are just fine and dandy. Thank you. Thank you. I cannot wait to see you guys. I just imagine being at an outdoor festival and listening to this music, just enjoy myself, sit in my lawn chair.
We'll be looking
tapping
for
my
you.
toes.
Yeah. We miss in-person performances.
We're just so glad. I am so glad that we can have you there because we can play this again, and we've recorded it on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can check it out yourselves as well. And anybody who has visited us tonight can find it, as well as folks who come upon it. So that's really great. I just wanted to read you guys some more of the comments just about how people love the spoons and such power in this performance. Man, there's one. Bravo. Always great to spend time with you. Love your music. Oh, just great to see you and hear you too. Just take your time if you guys want to look at your comments. It's really sweet.
Nice to see all the people in the audience that we knew.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm honored to have you. So let me ask you, how did you guys meet?
Who, us?
The two of us?
I don't know who she is. I fed her and she stayed. No, I'm just kidding.
We met at a festival in Lexington, Kentucky, the Woodland Jubilee.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a festival that had Gene Ritchie was there and Fred Park, and I don't remember everybody. It was just anyway, I used to see Gene Ritchie a lot growing up since I grew up in Kentucky. And John McCutcheon was in Louisville at the festival there a lot, and Nancy Barker, and yeah. So I grew up here, and a lot of the folk music at the those two venues, Kentucky Music Weekend and then also Woodland Jubilee, when I was in school there.
She said she was in high school when she first saw me.
I did.
And you know, R. Kelly just went to jail, so don't believe none of that stuff that she says.
So back in the day, were you already playing music, Rhonda?
I started taking piano lessons when I was 4. So I started.
Tell who they were from now, because that's important.
Fannie Woods Mansfield was her name. She was what you call a genuine character. She was also was a jazz,
very well known.
Ragtime composer. That I found out later on when I talked to her son that he still heard her some of her compositions, her tunes. They would play them like on the Bugs Bunny Hour and things like that. Said he would hear them on places like that. But he taught my brother. I was too young. She died when I was in 8th grade. She was pretty old. But she taught my brother how to play one of her ragtime pieces called Sweetness Rag, and it's really a fine piece. And since then I've gotten a copy of it and that kind of thing. So.
And you just picked up all these other instruments.
Yeah, I did get a guitar when I was a teenager and tried to teach myself that, and but I guess I also already had harmonicas when I met him, but I really wasn't playing that much. I started listening to Sonny Terry when I met him, and actually my style, you can probably hear that because I ripped off a few of his licks.
Well, the thing is, harmonica, well, any musician, if you're playing with another musician, you have to play with them, not control the jam. You know, you got to follow them and know when to put in certain notes and whatnot. And Sonny Terry was wonderful at doing that with Brownie's music. I mean,
I really liked his style of playing. I never got to meet him. I guess it was he died before we met, really, and you got to meet both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Brownie McGee, yeah.
Brownie was from Knoxville, Tennessee, which is the same town that Sparky grew up in.
Okay.
And, so they knew some of the same people, and in the growing in the area. Brownie was a generation older.
Right.
But
we played a lot together. I'd open for him at gigs and stuff, and And come like that's when we started talking. Come find out we knew a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, that's my niece. That's my cousin. You know, that kind of thing.
And Howard Armstrong, we mentioned Martin Bogan and Armstrong playing the Vegetable Song or Barnyard Dance. Howard was from East Tennessee as well, and he was also a generation older than Sparky. And
maybe two.
And maybe two, yeah. He lived to be in his 90s. He was a true Renaissance man. He spoke several languages. He knew a lot of, I mean, just a really intelligent person, and an artist, a visual artist as well as a musician, and could play anything with strings. And
who is he again? What's his name?
Howard Armstrong.
Thanks.
Yeah, if you go, you look him up on YouTube, you'll find some stuff.
I shall. Hey, what can we find for you guys on YouTube, and where are you going to have your next gig?
Our next gig is actually in West Virginia. It's an in-person thing at West Virginia University
in Morgantown.
In the middle of October. I hope it's on our website. And then there's a possibility that we're playing in Atlanta in November, but that's a little iffy because we're not sure about the venue, whether it's going to stay open or not, or be open by then or not. So, yeah.
Well, I welcome anybody else who has any questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to thank you for being at my venue. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am honored to have you.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful purpose you sing with.
Bill and
Barb. Yeah.
Thanks everybody for coming so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. Everybody take care. Thanks for joining us.
As always, we love you, Sparky, and too bad we'll have to get together once it's safe to get together again.
We will.
Hope not too long, because we ain't no youngsters no more, Bill.
Tell me about it, Junior.
Great hosting you.